All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to Diabetes Talk. I am your host, Charlie O'Connell. We are broadcasting live, direct from the GlucoseZone studio here in New Haven, Connecticut. We just had an amazing GlucoseZone strength training workout. Guys, if you haven't joined us for one of our workouts yet, I highly recommend you check this out. Download the GlucoseZone app. And basically, if you are ready to make a change, we are ready to help you. I want to do a huge shout out to YouTube. I want to do a huge shout out to Facebook. And I want to do a huge shout out to Instagram. I see you guys around the world. Maria from California joining us on Facebook. It is great to have you here. Sue joining us from Instagram. Great to have you here. And guys, we've got a ton of people joining us on YouTube already. DeLeslin, welcome. Jeanette, welcome. How did you guys feel with that workout? That was serious business, and you should be proud of yourself for completing that workout. So, tonight's talk, guys, is we are going to break down everything there is to know about the morning dawn effect, about weird things that happen with your glucose levels in the morning. What is the Somaji effect, which is something you may not have heard of, and basically give you very practical tips for dealing with these diabetes-specific incidents that happen, okay? And of course, we're going to answer all of your questions. And of course, guys, we want to be sharing this information with as many people as possible. So if you're on Facebook right now, I want to ask you a favor, share this broadcast on your timeline so that we can really start getting this information out to people who need it, all right? And Khalil, I see you joining us on Instagram. It is great to have you here, Khalil. Frank, it is great to have you here. And Mark has also joined us on YouTube. So, guys, and Marisol on Facebook. Great to see you, Marisol. So here's the thing, guys. The morning time, in many ways, is the most important time that relates to your actual successful diabetes management. And the reason why I say that is two reasons. The first reason is your morning time blood glucose level is an indication of how you manage your blood glucose levels at nighttime, okay? And if you are struggling with your A1C and your A1C is not matching up to your daytime testing numbers, you really want to immediately turn to examining what's going on at nighttime. And there's technology and tools that you can use to do that, but there's also, you have to understand the information, okay? And so while I would definitely encourage you to take advantage of the technology, what I really want to share with you guys today is the information, all right? So I'm going to talk about two terms right now that you need to understand, okay? The first term is called the morning dawn effect. And what the morning dawn effect is a natural rise in glucose levels that occurs in the morning and can be exacerbated by exercise, okay? And the reason why this is so tricky to manage with diabetes is it's confusing and sometimes it's counterintuitive as to how to actually manage this. So I'm going to share with you an example of dealing with the morning dawn effect in a very positive way and as relates to exercise. So a couple years ago when I was first starting GlucoseZone, I had a woman referred to me, okay, from the Yale Diabetes Center. And the woman was referred to me because she had told her doctor that she was very frustrated because she had been working out for 6 months with a personal trainer, and not only had she not lost any weight, but her A1C had actually gotten worse, okay? And I'm sure you guys can identify with how frustrating that would be. So she was recommended to come to the GlucoseZone. And the first thing we do, guys, is we talk about when you come here, we talk about what is your experience, what is going on, what are you having trouble with, okay? What are you having success with? So first thing this lady told me was she had been working out with a personal trainer at 5 o'clock in the morning, 3 days a week at her local gym. Now, as soon as this woman told me that, I knew two things. The first thing I knew was this was a motivated person, okay? I don't care who you are, nobody likes working out at 5 o'clock in the morning. It takes serious commitment and dedication to do that. So that was the first thing. I knew this lady was ready. The second thing that popped in my mind was the morning dawn effect. So was this lady potentially experiencing the morning dawn effect, and could that be having a negative impact on her A1C? So what did we do? We scheduled to have her come to the GlucoseZone at 5 o'clock in the morning, okay? And what do we always do? First thing we always do is test blood sugar. So when she got here at 5 o'clock in the morning, she tested her blood sugar, and her number was 120, which you guys know in the scheme of things, that's a great glucose level. The next thing we did was we had her walk for 20 minutes on the treadmill. We didn't do anything crazy. We didn't do any weightlifting. We didn't do Tai Bo. We didn't do anything like that. We just did walking on the treadmill. The other key thing was this lady was fasting, so she hadn't had anything to eat, okay? So she walked on the treadmill for 20 minutes. We stopped, tested her blood sugar again, and her blood sugar had gone up to 240. And this poor lady, she threw her hands in the air. She said, I thought that exercise was supposed to help my diabetes. And I said to her, I said, well, is this what usually happens? Okay. And she said, I don't know. We don't ever test my blood sugar when we exercise. Okay, so to make a long story short, this poor lady was working out with a bozo personal trainer who had no clue about diabetes. And she was actually showing up to the gym with normal glucose levels and leaving with dangerously elevated levels. That was then causing a ripple effect, okay, of negative consequences and decisions, because she wasn't feeling well, she was dehydrated, she was frustrated because she didn't feel like she could really eat anything because her number was so high, and you guys can just imagine, being in that predicament. So in her case, we did two things, guys. The first thing we did was have her start green juicing in the morning. And there's a very specific reason why we did that. And this is part of the counterintuitive part of this whole process. If you are experiencing the morning dawn effect, there has to become the presence of insulin, okay, in the bloodstream. Insulin has to become present in order for the absorption of that excess glucose to happen. And for somebody living with type 2 diabetes, the way that you cause the presence of insulin is through the consumption of food. So in her case, we started her with green juicing. We had her pick a fruit that she liked, okay? In her case, it was strawberries. So she put strawberries in the green juice. When she consumed that green juice with the strawberries, that actually stimulated the release of insulin, and that actually blunted the morning dawn effect. The second thing that we did was we just had her stop working out in the morning. It was causing so many problems, okay? We said, you know what? Even though, generally speaking, we encourage morning exercise, in your case, this is really having a negative effect. So we moved her to evening workouts. And she stopped working out at 5 a.m., started working out after work at 6 p.m. You know what happened? This was such a positive, transformational revelation for her that she became inspired to truly make a change. And in 11 months, she lost 107 pounds, and her A1C went from 6.9 to 5.6, and her doctor took her off of the diabetes medication that she was taking. Guys, that is a really, really positive anecdotal story about why understanding these issues are so important, okay? So understanding the morning dawn effect, understanding what it is, why it happens, is very, very important for diabetes management. The other thing that's important to understand is that the morning dawn effect is a natural occurrence. The morning dawn effect happens to everybody. And the reason why it happens is because when you go from a resting state to an active state, your body is designed to provide you with energy. Okay? It is designed literally to provide you with glucose that your muscles can use, that your brain can use. Okay? So that the morning dawn effect is a very natural, actual healthy thing that happens. But for people living with diabetes, it can become very complicated for a number of reasons. Number one, if you have diabetes, that fundamentally means that your whole endocrine system, there's something wrong with it. Now, there's degrees of wrong, okay? Your body could be producing too much insulin. Your body could be producing no insulin at all. You could be experiencing insulin resistance. You could be experiencing issues with the production of glucagon or the lack of production of glucagon. Very important, guys, to understand what glucagon is, and don't get the terms glycogen and glucagon confused. So what glucagon is glucagon is the hormone that's secreted by your pancreas, okay, that stimulates your liver to release stored sugar. When you don't have diabetes, in a person with a healthy functioning endocrine system and metabolism, insulin and glucagon play a very sophisticated, synchronized dance together, where throughout the course of the whole day, insulin and glucagon are working hand in hand to keep your blood sugar levels steady and to make sure that your body has access to the energy that it needs to burn calories and to perform activity. All right? So these types of things, guys, are so important to educate yourself about. And if you don't know what glucagon is, Google it. Okay? If you don't know what the pancreas does, Google it. I really can't encourage you to do that enough. All right, so that's what the morning dawn effect is. Now, let me just stop right there before I break down the next thing, because we've got several people who have joined us, okay, from around the world, and I want to recognize them. First off, Singa joining us from Nepal. It is great to see you. Okay, we have got Nikki is in the house, and it's great to see you, Nikki. Okay, we've got a ton of people. Okay, Nikki from Florida. We have got several people that have joined us on YouTube and on Instagram as well, including Jay McGee 995. Jay McGee, I think this is your first time joining us. I would love to know where you're joining us from. Okay, and that's what I'm talking about. Sukina joining us from Iraq. Welcome, okay? Welcome to Diabetes Talk. Welcome to the GlucoseZone. And guys, this really is a worldwide community of people that are willing and able to do something about their diabetes, take back control of their diabetes, and do it in a very supportive way, okay? So it is great to have all of you guys here. Now, and I can't forget Deborah either. Deborah, I see you on Facebook, okay, and welcome. Now, here's the thing, all right? So the morning dawn effect is one thing that you have to be aware of when you have diabetes. There's another thing that happens in the morning to some people living with diabetes, and that's called the Somogyi effect. And that's spelled Somogyi. It's a very, very odd, weird spelling. SOMOGYI. The Somogyi effect is also known as the rebound effect. And what the Somogyi effect is actually an inappropriate reaction by the body in response to low blood sugar at nighttime. Okay? And is basically named after this guy, Michael Somogyi, who was the first researcher to describe it. And what it is actually a protective mechanism that basically your body uses to avoid going too low. And it stimulates, what it ultimately is the stimulation of the release of counter-regulatory hormones, specifically glucagon and epinephrine, in response to low blood sugar at nighttime. So let's really, really break this down, because it's important to distinguish, and you may never have heard of this before, to distinguish the morning dawn effect and the Somogyi effect. So the Somogyi effect is actually more likely to happen to somebody with type 1 diabetes. And basically what it is if your blood sugar is consistently below safe levels at nighttime, and you may not even be aware of this. This is why it's so important. If you're having weird things happening when you wake up in the morning, I would really, really recommend getting a CGM, a continuous glucose monitor, because you can actually really see it. But basically what happens is, if your blood sugar is like between 50 and 70, or maybe even lower, 40 and 70 at nighttime while you're sleeping, that is dangerously low. Your blood sugar levels are too low. And your body actually responds to that with this rebound effect by dumping, through the use of counter-regulatory hormones, sugar into your blood to actually protect you. And what it's protecting is your brain, okay? Because your body can actually detect that the brain does not have access to sugar that it needs. And if you go for an extended period of time with that condition, you're susceptible to this rebound effect. And I have to actually thank our resident CDE here, who's a woman named Lorianne Scher. She's so good, guys. She's so committed to researching this information and helping me to explain this in a way that's easy to understand. So what's interesting, Lorianne really, really broke it down. She went and really got that key information that distinguishes between the morning dawn effect and the Somogyi effect. And it takes a real expert who's passionate and committed to helping people with diabetes to even really understand why it's so important to distinguish those things, okay? So, the Somogyi effect, right, basically it's also known as the rebound effect, and it essentially happens as a protective measure and response to low blood sugar at nighttime, and specifically while you're sleeping. Okay? All right. So we got a great question that came in. I want to address this question, then I want to explain a little bit more about counter-regulatory hormones. So this question has come in from Deleslin, says, my doctor told me to eat some protein right before bed to help my levels in the morning. I haven't noticed it helping. Morning levels are right around 150. All right. So, Deleslin, it's a great comment. Thank you for sharing it. So, what I want you to basically start now to investigate, Deleslin, is, are you experiencing the morning dawn effect, or are you experiencing the Somogyi effect? And remember, the Somogyi effect is this rebound, protective thing that your body does when you have low blood sugar at nighttime. Okay? That's the first thing. The second thing is examining, and this is another suggestion that was made actually to me recently, was basically changing your sleeping habits. to very specifically address this morning dawn effect. So I'll give you a good example, guys. This is a perfect example. I'm going to share personally what happened to me over the last 3 days. On Sunday morning, I woke up at 6 a.m., tested my blood sugar, and it was exactly 104 at 6 a.m. Okay? Great waking number. Okay? By 7:30 a.m., it had shot up to 176. Okay? The next day, I didn't wake up until 8 a.m., and my blood sugar was 350. So that little 2-hour time period between 6 a.m. and 8 a.m., it's clear that my blood sugar is going up, and in my case, is shooting up like a rocket. And what's very interesting is when you look at my CGM, it's pretty evident that I'm experiencing, at least part of the time, this Somoji effect, because you can see my blood sugar is basically below where it should be from the hours of about 1 a.m. to 5 a.m., and then all of a sudden, this huge rebound occurring. All right? So these are the types of things, okay? These are the types of things that basically you need to be aware of. All right. And that's a great, and I want to thank you again to Leslyn for bringing that up, because this can be so frustrating. And the consumption of protein is, the recommendation for the consumption of protein is basically to deal with the Somoji effect, to keep your blood sugar from going too low. If that's not your problem, if you're not having a problem of going too low at nighttime, the consumption of protein is not going to help this issue. All right? Now, this recommendation of changing your sleep patterns potentially will. So in my case, my doctor recommended, can I maybe look at going to bed a little earlier and waking up earlier? So his suggestion was go to bed at 10 p.m. and wake up at 6 a.m. Now, the only thing about that recommendation is I have 2 children under the age of 4, so going to bed at 10 p.m. is very, very challenging. But you guys know basically the meaning of that recommendation, okay? And these are the types of things, guys, that you need to consider. All right, now, let me just get back to these counter-regulatory hormones for a second, okay? Because understanding the counter-regulatory hormones is so fundamental to understanding how to manage your diabetes. So there is one hormone that causes your glucose levels to go down, right? And that's insulin. And insulin is a hormone that causes the absorption of glucose into your liver, muscle, and fat tissue. Insulin causes glucose levels to go down. Okay? There are 5 counter-regulatory hormones that cause glucose levels to go up. Count them, 5. Okay? Glucagon, adrenaline, noradrenaline, growth hormone, okay? Cortisol. 5 different hormones that cause glucose levels to go up. 1 hormone that causes glucose levels to go down. So understanding that it's not just food. This is really the point. It's not just food that causes your glucose levels to go up, okay? There are other hormones, natural hormones, necessary hormones that cause your glucose levels to go up, and you really, really need to be aware of them, all right? Okay, now we've got a couple people joining us. Pablo has joined us. Pablo, you are the man, and it is great to see you here. Leslie Bixby has joined us. Leslie, it is great to see you, okay? And we are happy that you are here with us. And we had a great comment from Tammy on YouTube. Is there any way that we can take a look at that for a second, okay? So that's awesome. So Tammy, I can't wait to see you, okay, in that GlucoseZone shirt. And guys, you know what? We might as well let people know now. We are coming to Chicago, all right? And let me actually pull up the exact date, because we are so excited about this, guys. We are coming to Chicago in early April for the American Diabetes Association Health and Wellness Expo. Guys, I'm going to be giving a presentation at the expo on how to use exercise to reduce, reverse, and control your diabetes. And we are going to be putting on a free fitness class for anybody who shows up to the expo. And we guys are going to be trying to set a new world record for the most people living with diabetes exercising at the same time. Whether you're live with us in Chicago or joining us in the GlucoseZone app, we want you guys to be exercising with us, okay? And let me get you that exact date, which is April 14th, okay? So guys, April 14th, we are going to be at the American Diabetes Association Health and Wellness Expo in Chicago. I cannot wait to see you guys there. If you guys are in the Chicago area, okay, please come introduce yourself. We have so many people that have been with us in GlucoseZone that are either in or around the Chicago area, and it would be fantastic to see you. Guys, we are going to be posting more specific information when we have the actual times of my presentation and the location of the presentation. We're going to be sharing that information. But having said that, we really are excited about this opportunity to come out to Chicago. A lot of you guys have been saying that you would join us, and we are pumped up for that, okay? All right, and last question from Sue on Instagram asking, do we have any plans to come to the Bay Area? Okay, Sue, we were just in the Bay Area about a month ago. We will definitely be back in the Bay Area sooner rather than later. And that's a great question, and thank you for asking, and we will definitely keep you updated on that, all right? Okay, guys, that is it. Thank you so much for this opportunity to talk about the morning dawn effect and the Samoji effect. I want to encourage you, understand the difference between those two things, okay? Proactively reach out to your healthcare provider, start educating yourself through Google. Guys, join us in the GlucoseZone. And you know, the last thing is, we heard from Mary tonight in the actual GlucoseZone workout, and Mary shared with us her incredible A1C results. And I want to encourage you, basically guys, every single person that has made the commitment to join GlucoseZone has seen phenomenal results. So if you are ready to start losing weight, improving your A1C, and start having success with exercise and reaching your fitness goals, living with diabetes, okay, download the GlucoseZone app, guys. I can't wait to see you. And on that note, we are going to end it. Thank you so much. Have a great night.